Hare Krishna. Good morning, dear Prabhus. I am filling in once again because we do not have a speaker this morning. Please bear with me because, of course, I have had no time to prepare. Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Jamunatira Vanachari. Jamunatira Vanachari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Ashuranandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yashuranandana Vraja Janaranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad. His Divine Grace Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Hariraj Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Maturidam Ki Jai. Shri Mayapur Navadham Ki Jai. Shri Jagannath Puridam Ki Jai. Shri Gita Nagari Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mayi Jamuna Mayi Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Grantaraj Shri Mad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Shri Prabhupada. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutare. Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvashesha Shunya Vari Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayat Nasta Praishva Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavad Yutama Shroke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki. Hare Krishna. We are reading today Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, entitled The Creative Impetus, the 17th chapter, entitled The Descent of the River Ganges. And today's text is text 21. Bear with me while I get myself organized here. I'm afraid I'm not at all organized. Hare Krishna. '21. Yam ahur asya stiti janma samyamam Shribir Vehinam Yam Anantam Rishaya Naveda Siddhartam Iva Kvachit Stitam Bhumandalam Murdva Sahasra Damasu. The word for word synonyms: Yam, whom; Ahu, they said; Asya, of the material world; Stiti, the maintenance; Janma, creation; Samyamam, annihilation; Tribihi, these three; Vihinam, without; Yam, which; Anantam, unlimited; Rishaya, all the great sages; Na, not; Veda, fields; Siddha artam, a mustard seed; Iva, like; Kvachit, where; Stitam, situated; Bhumandalam, the universe; Murdha Sahasra Damasu, on the hundreds and thousands of hoods of the Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Lord Shiva continued, all the great sages accept the Lord as the source of creation, maintenance, and destruction, although he actually has nothing to do with these activities. Therefore, the Lord is called unlimited. Although the Lord in his incarnation as Sesha holds all the universes on his hoods, each universe feels no heavier than a mustard seed to him. Therefore, what person desiring perfection will not worship the Lord? Srila Prabhupada's purport. The incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Sesha or Ananta, has unlimited strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. As described in this verse, Ananta's strength is so great that the innumerable universes rest on his hoods. He has the bodily features of a snake with thousands of hoods, And since his strength is unlimited, all the universes resting on his hoods feel no heavier than mustard seeds. We can just imagine how insignificant a mustard seed is on the hood of a serpent. In this connection, the reader is referred to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 5, verses 117 to 125. There it is stated that Lord Vishnu's incarnation as the serpentine Ananta Seshadaga supports all the universes on his hoods. By our calculation, a universe may be very, very heavy, but because the Lord is Ananta, unlimited, he feels the weight to be no heavier than a mustard seed. Om Jnana-timanandasya Gyananjana-shalakaya Chakshuranmritam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishyam Shtapitam Jena Bhutare Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Swahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Sapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Hare Krishna. To place this verse in its context, Lord Shiva is glorifying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This a brief synopsis, if we go back to text 14, it's explained that the world is divided into different varshas. Bear with me here. I'm having a lot of trouble with my computer. I have some sort of virus that causes everything to freeze every few seconds, and it remains frozen for about 1 minute. Makes it exceedingly difficult to do anything. So 9 varshas, and it's explained that the Lord has kindly made himself available to all the living entities within each of those 9 varshas, at least in a deity form, which is not different than he himself. Of these 9 varshas, one is known as Ilavrita Varsha, and there resides Lord Shiva, one of the um, 3 guna avatars. And so he is meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead, specifically the particular form of the Lord known as Shankarshan. And with the understanding that Shankarshan is the ultimate source of he himself. So in Alavar Varsha, he is engaged in chanting mantras, which are glorification, praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shankarshan. Frozen computer. Hare Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada explains in numerous purports, and we find in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the second chapter, there's some discussion many places elsewhere as well. Um, Krishna is the source all of everything. Virtually everything is coming from Krishna, including all of his many avatars. But the first expansion from Krishna is Lord Baladev, Balaram, and all other incarnations are manifestations emanating from Lord Balaram. There's an elaborate description of this in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Actually, the very chapter that Srila Prabhupada references in his purport, he makes reference to Adi Leela, chapter 5. That chapter is entitled The Glories of Lord Nityananda Balaram. Lord Nityananda, sometimes referred to as Nityananda Ram, is not different from Lord Baladev, Balaram. Wonderful glorification in this chapter, and it gives you a sense of the magnitude of Lord Balaram's greatness, Lord Nityananda. It's extraordinary to read these descriptions of how all the various avatars are emanating from him. Absolutely extraordinary. Um, Mundane scientists are trying to understand something about the structure and origin of the universe. They can't begin to imagine something as extraordinary as the actual reality. They'll never be able to understand by any amount of accumulation of empirical knowledge. They will just simply never arrive at the understanding that the world is manifested in this way. It's just not possible. Uh, Srila Prabhupada sometimes gives an example of tiny insects. There's one type of insect, can't recall the name now. If anyone has spent any time in India, you will have some experience of this. Um, they begin as eggs in the soil, and they live for a short period of time in the soil. They go through a few stages of development, and then they emerge from the soil at night um, at a particular time, which is synchronized. All of them emerge from the soil on the same night, and they rise into the air. They find a mate. They conduct their reproductive processes. They fall to the ground. The female lays her eggs in the soil, and within a few hours, they are all dead. So, very short span of life. You see them only for a few hours in a single night. They have very little experience of the world. Uh, their entire lifespan is either underground or when above ground at night when nothing is visible. So they have a very, very limited perspective of the world around them. What can they possibly know? How can they possibly understand anything of the vastness of the planet on which they live and the fact that there are many other planets, an entire universe, multiple universes? It's completely beyond their scope of understanding. There's no possibility, absolutely no question. But we are blessed to have some little opportunity to try to grasp some of uh, the magnitude of Krishna's greatness by hearing these narrations from Srimad Bhagavatam. Uh, so, Lord Shiva is glorifying Lord Shankarshan. From Krishna, next manifestation, as I said, is Lord Balaram. From Balaram, next expansion is Shankarshan. And Shankarshan then expands himself as Narayan. From Narayan, there is a second Shankarshan. And from that Sankarshan, you get all of the various Purusha avatars, the many different forms of Vishnu. Um, so the scale is extraordinary, and this is made more clear in this fifth chapter of the Adi Lila, which Srila Prabhupada refers to. The entire chapter should be read by everyone. It's wonderful and extraordinary to hear. But we're going to review the specific verses that he has directed us towards, beginning with text 117, because here we're talking specifically about Lord Sesha, Ananta Sesh, who is Lord Vishnu, who has assumed the form of a colossal serpent with thousands upon thousands of heads. So I'm just going to read through the translations here quickly. Text 117. That same Lord Vishnu, in the form of Lord Sesha, holds the planets upon his heads, although he does not know where they are, for he cannot feel their existence upon his heads. So they are so insignificant, he doesn't even notice their presence. His thousands of extended hoods are adorned with dazzling jewels, surpassing the sun. The universe, which measures 500 million yojanas in diameter, rests on one of his hoods like a mustard seed. Srila Prabhupada says in his purport here, the Lord of Shvetadvip expands himself as Seshanaga, who sustains all the planets upon his innumerable hoods. But in these previous verses, we are also the Sesha was described who is outside the universes in the Karnadak ocean. He is supporting the universes on his hoods, whereas this Sesha is supporting the planets on his hoods. So he said, Srila Prabhupada says, the Lord of Shvetadvip expands himself as Seshanaga, who sustains all the planets upon his innumerable hoods. These huge global spheres are compared to grains of mustard resting on the spiritual hoods of Sheshanag. The scientist's law of gravity is a partial explanation of Lord Shankarshan's energy. The name Shankarshan is an etymological relationship to the idea of gravity. There's a reference to Seshanaga in the Srimad Bhagavatam 5:17-21, where it is said, Yam ahor asyastiti janma samyamam. Shribir Vehinam Yam Anantam Rishaya Naveda Siddhartam Eva Kvachit Stitam Bhumandaram Murdha Sahasra Damasu. That's the very verse that we are covering today in Srimad Bhagavatam. O my Lord, the hymns of the Vedas proclaim that you are the effective cause for the creation, maintenance, and destruction, but in fact, you are transcendental to all limitations and are therefore known as unlimited. On your thousands of hoods rest the innumerable global spheres like grains of mustard, so insignificant that you have no perception of their weight. And he goes on to say, the Bhagavatam further says in the 25th chapter of the 5th canto, text 2, Yasyedan Stiti Mandaram Bhagavato Nanta Morte Sahasra Sirasa Ekasmin Eva Sirshani Driyamanam Siddhartha Eva Lakshyate. Lord Ananta has thousands of hoods. Each sustains a global sphere that appears like a grain of mustard. You'll notice that this text from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, 17th chapter, text 21, which we covered today, Srila Prabhupada's translation in this case is it's quite different than what we just read. And this is an interesting point to take note of, the fact that Srila Prabhupada could give many different translations, all of which completely accurate and valid, but sometimes devotees get hung up on a particular translation. And so there has been much controversy over some of the editorial changes to Bhagavad Gita, wherein some of the translations have been changed, actually to make them more closely resemble what Srila Prabhupada actually dictated, because they were heavily edited in the early editions of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Actually, the early editions of Bhagavad Gita, this is unknown to many devotees, many of those translations are actually plagiarized. They are not Srila Prabhupada's translations. They were actually taken from the translations of Swami Shivananda and a few others. They're actually a hybrid of Hayagriva Prabhu took. He borrowed from the translations of some other early English translations of Bhagavad Gita. So the latest edition, the 83 edition of Bhagavad Gita, returns the translations to an edited version of Srila Prabhupada's own translations, and therefore the translations between the 72 edition and the 83 edition appear quite different. Sometimes the devotees prefer the 72 edition, the earlier edition, because of its poetic style. Srila Prabhupada actually did not care for that poetic style. That poetic style is not Srila Prabhupada's. He didn't speak and he did not translate like that. That was taken from Swami Shivananda. And if you look at Swami Shivananda's translation of Bhagavad Gita, you'll see that style. He uses phrases such as "the Blessed Lord said." Srila Prabhupada didn't say that in Srila Prabhupada's translations. And if you look at the original transcripts of Srila Prabhupada's typed manuscripts and dictations, he always says, "the Supreme Personality of Godhead said." So anyway, just for those who are who feel that there's like only one translation for a particular text of Bhagavad Gita, if you go through Srila Prabhupada's lectures, if you listen to his lectures, he quotes Bhagavad Gita innumerable times, and for the same verse, each time he quotes it, he will give a different translation. He'll translate it differently each time. But what we have in the 83 edition is those translations which were originally given by Srila Prabhupada. He actually asked for the books to be returned to the original translations when there was some controversy raised in a conversation which has become famously known as the Rascal Editor's conversation. In that conversation, he complains about the fact that the original books were edited, and sometimes in ways that were unauthorized. He names the editors that were responsible for making those changes. They included the editors that did at least one of the editors who did, because numerous devotees worked on the early books. One of the editors who did the most of the editing for the 72 edition of Bhagavad Gita was described by Srila Prabhupada as being a rascal editor. And Srila Prabhupada actually removed him from his service as editor He was very unhappy with the fact that he felt he could not trust him. He had made some significant unauthorized changes in some other books. And then he named various editors whom he had great confidence in. Two in particular, he said, were good editors. They included Satsarup Maharaj and Jayadvaita, who was Brahmachari at the time. Jayadvaita Brahmachari. He named them as good editors. Jayadvaita in particular, he had such confidence in him that when a question was raised by the production manager of the BBT over some work that Jayadvaita Swami was doing, Srila Prabhupada said, whatever Jayadvaita does is approved by me. I have confidence in him. That's an extraordinary statement because Srila Prabhupada ordinarily insisted upon strict oversight of everyone for everything. But in the case of Jayadvaita Swami, he had complete confidence in him, felt that there was no need for oversight. He said to Jayadvaita Swami himself, Krishna will guide you. He will tell you how to do the editing. If there is a question, if for some reason you can't, immediately contact me because all communication at that time was done by snail mail. So he said, you just go ahead. Krishna will guide you. Anyway, gone off on a wild tangent here. Lots of different translations. Let me get back to Adi Leela. So now, text 120, that Anantasesha is the devotee incarnation of Godhead. He knows nothing but service to Lord Krishna. With his thousands of mouths, he sings the glories of Lord Krishna, but although he always sings in that way, he does not find an end to the qualities of the Lord. The four Kumaras hear Srimad Bhagavatam from his lips, and they in turn repeat it in the transcendental bliss of love of Godhead. He serves Lord Krishna, assuming all the following forms: umbrella, slippers, bedding, pillow, garments, resting chair, residence, sacred thread, and throne. These are all of these particular items utilized by the Lord are actually Lord Sesha. He assumes these forms. He is thus called Lord Sesha, for he has attained the ultimate end of servitude to Krishna. He takes many forms for the service of Krishna, and thus he serves the Lord. That person of whom Lord Ananta is Kala, or part of a plenary part, is Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who therefore can know the pastimes of Lord Nityananda. So, a little glorification of Lord Sesha. We will hear more glorification in the verses to come in the 17th chapter of Canto 5, Srimad Bhagavatam. I want to, we have 20 minutes remaining, and I want to take some time to offer a little glorification of some prominent Vaishnava devotees of Lord Chaitanya, whose disappearance day occurs today. Those personalities are Srila Mahesh Pandit and Udarna Das Thakur, both extraordinary personalities. I'm going to read a little bit from a description of them, which was written by one of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers, Srila Tirtha Maharaj. The book is entitled Sri Chaitanya and His Associates, and it has become a standard reference for understanding some of the associates of Lord Chaitanya. So we shall begin with Srila Mahesh Pandit. Mahesh Pandita Shriman Maha Bahur Vrajesakha. In Vraja, Mahesh Pandit is Krishna's cowherd friend Mahabahu. This is quoted from the Guru Ganodesh Deepika, text 129. Mahesh Pandit is Mahabahu Saka, one of the Dvadasha Gopala, or 12 cowherd boys. His home, Shripat is a term which refers to the native place of a great devotee. So his home, Shripat, was first situated in Masipur across the river from Jirat on the eastern bank of the Ganges. When Masipur fell into the river, the Shripat was moved to Baladanga near Sukasagar. So the Ganges is a very large, very powerful river, and it is constantly eroding its banks, and it wanders. The river bed moves as it gradually erodes this way and that way. If it begins to bend, then the outside of the bend will have greater erosion because the water is moving faster on the outside of a curve. And so the curve becomes exaggerated, and gradually the river moves from place to place. It doesn't flow in the same place constantly. It's constantly moving here and there. And sometimes entire villages are consumed. They wind up just sinking into the river. When something like that happens, and there are sacred places, because a Shripad is very, very important to the Vaishnavas. The Shripad of a great Vaishnava is worshipable. Um, just like Tadiya, it is worshipable, and devotees will derive great benefit from the worship of that place. When it is in jeopardy of being wiped out by movement of a river, they will try to preserve some artifacts from that location and move them to another location where it will not be subject to destruction by the river. And by doing that, the effect of the Shripad is not lost. Just like Tadiya, something, an item which is utilized by a great Vaishnava. Like here at Gita Nagari, we have Srila Prabhupada's Vyasasan, his shoes, the shawl that covered his feet when he was leaving his body. These are items of Tadiya, and Srila Prabhupada's presence can be felt powerfully in those items. They can be moved from place to place, and the potency is not diminished. So the potency of the Shripad can be preserved and moved by taking some of the soil from that location and some other various artifacts. Whatever is can be transported, they will take that and move it to another location. So that was done in the case of Mahesh Pandit's Shripad. So it has been moved to what is now its present location in Palpara. This last move took place in the Bengali year 1334 or 1927 AD. Palpara is situated within the Panchanagar administrative block. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur mentions in his commentary to Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, chapter 11, text 32, that this final resting place for Mahesh Pandit's Shripad is in Katal Puli near Chakda. Mahesh Pandit is considered to be a branch of both Nityananda Prabhu and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Some people say that he was the youngest brother of Jagadish Pandit. Jagadish Pandit was a childhood friend, a very close friend of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They were classmates, and Jagadish Pandit had a very unique relationship with Lord Chaitanya, very familiar. So some people say that Mahesh Pandit was the youngest brother of Jagadish Pandit, whose Shripad is in Jashra. According to this opinion, there were three brothers in the family: Jagadish, Hiranya, and Mahesh. Mahesh Pandit's Shripad is a small construction in the style of an ordinary residential building and houses Gaura Nityananda Prabhu deities, as well as Sri Gopinath, Madan Mohan, Radha Govinda, and a Shalagram Shila. In front of the temple building is a memorial to Mahesh Pandit, his Pushpa Samadhi. Sri Mahesh Pandit participated in the Chiradadhi Mahotsava, the festival of chip rice and yogurt in Parihati, after which he followed Nityananda Prabhu to Saptagram. He was present in Kardaha when Narottam Das Thakur came there to pay a visit. With great affection, Mahesh Pandit bade farewell to Narottam Thakur and became sad in his separation. This is described in the Bhakti Ratnakar, and 8:220 is the verse. Mahesh Pandit, an associate of Nityananda Prabhu, resembled him in being extremely magnanimous and devoted to the salvation of the fallen living beings. In his ecstasies of devotional love, he would dance madly. Mahesh Pandit was a magnanimous cowherd boy of Braja. In his love for Krishna, he would dance to the sound of kettle drums like a madman. This is described in Chaitanya Charitamrita in the Adi Leela, chapter 11, text 32. His name is also mentioned in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Vrindavan Das Thakur calls him a great soul, Parama Mahanta. That's Chaitanya Bhagavat 3:6. His disappearance day is celebrated on the 13th day of the dark moon, Krishna Trayodashi, in the month of Pausha, which is today. And so now we will go on to Sri Udharana Datta Thakur. Udharana Datta was the best of the Bhagavatas. He served Nityananda Prabhu's lotus feet in every way possible. This is a quote from chapter 11 of the Adi Leela, text 41 of Chaitanya Charitamrita. Whenever the Supreme Lord, Nandana, Sri Krishna, adopts the devotional mood and bodily luster of Srimati Radharani in order to become Sri Krishna Chaitanya in the house of Sri Jagannath Mishra in Sridham Mayapur, he is always accompanied by his eternal associates who join him to enrich his pastimes. Thus, Krishna's primary expansion, or Prakash, Baladev, accepts the attitude of a devotee as Sri Nityananda Prabhu, appearing in Ekachakra village in order to embellish Mahaprabhu's Leela. He too has his entourage of personal confidants who descend to this earth to assist him in playing his role. Nityananda Prabhu is Baladev Tattva. He is none other than Lord Shesha, the source of the three Purusha avatars. Maha Shankarshan's causal form, or Mula Shankarshan, his chief companions, so he is the Maha Shankarshan, the Mula Shankarshan, the original Shankarshan. His chief companions are known as the Dvadasha Gopals, or 12 cowherds. That's stated in Gauragadanesh Deepika. Sabahur yo vraje gopodata udharana kyaka. The cowherd named Subahu became Udarana Datta. Udarana Datta Thakur is one of the 12 Gopalas. In order to assist Nityananda Prabhu's pastimes, he appeared in the town of Saptagram in the year 1481 AD. Saptagram is in the Hooghly district near the Trishbhigha railway station. His parents were named Shrikara and Bhadravati, and they belonged to the gold merchant class. Any caste in which a Vaishnava appears is holy. The earth itself is blessed by the appearance of a Vaishnava, and his or her mother has achieved the perfection of his or her mother has achieved the perfection of motherhood. Vrindavan Das Thakur has written this. Nityananda Prabhu remained a few days in Karda and then went on to Saptagram with his troop of associates. The Lord stayed at the home of the fortunate Udarana Datta on the banks of the Triveni. Completely surrendered to the feet of Nityananda Prabhu, Udarana Datta worshipped him without any false pretense. The entire caste of gold merchants was purified by the presence of Udarana Datta in its midst. Of this, there can be no doubt. This is from Chaitanya Bhagavat. In order to show that one's caste and family background are completely irrelevant, Haridas Thakur took birth in an outcast family. Sri Krishna this is being quoted now from Chaitanya Bhagavat. Sri Krishna Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu wanted to teach that a great devotee may appear in any family, in any caste, and so they had some of their devotees take birth in such households. One who takes birth in a low-class family is not disqualified from performing devotional service, nor is one who is born in a pure high-class Brahminical family automatically qualified for such service. Whoever engages in the worship of the Lord is a great person, and who does not worship is rejected. It's from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Lila, chapter 4, text 66 and 67. And they are now quoted. Anyone who considers the deity to be nothing but stone, the guru to be an ordinary human being, or the Vaishnava to be a member of a particular caste or race, who takes the holy water which has washed Vishnu or the Vaishnava's feet and can destroy all the sins of the age of Kali to be ordinary water, or who thinks that the name or mantra of Vishnu, which destroys all evils, is the same as any other sound, or who takes Vishnu to be equal to anything other than him, is a resident of hell. This is from the Padma Purana. Anyone who sees a Vaishnava in terms of his material birth is destined for a hellish existence. Subbahu took birth in a family of gold merchants, but this does not mean that he was a gold merchant. He was an eternal associate of the Lord, beyond the material qualities. One cannot understand the underlying nature or ontological aspect of the Lord and his devotees by using the gross or subtle material senses. One can only get a superficial understanding of their morphological or external aspect. The true nature of the devotee or the Supreme Lord is revealed to the surrendered heart. If Uttarana Datta Thakur is merciful, one can understand his transcendental nature and his divine glories. Among Devatas, Vishnu is supreme. Only by uttering the name of Vishnu can all of one's sins be burned up, all inauspiciousness in one's destiny destroyed, and auspiciousness gained. A single utterance of the name of Rama equals 1,000 repetitions of the name of Vishnu. Rama, Rama, Rameti, Rameti, Rame, Rame, Manorame, Sahasra, Nama Bistulyam, Ramanama, Varane. O sweet-faced Durga, I take great pleasure in chanting the names of Rama. Rama, Rama. A single utterance of the name of Rama is equal to a recital of the 1,000 names of Vishnu. This is from the Padma Purana, the Uttarakhanda, chapter 72, text 335. And then also Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 9, text 32. Sahasranam nam punyanam Privravritya tu yat palam eka vritya tu Krishnasya namaikam tat parachati. The fruits of 3 recitations of the 1,000 names of Lord Vishnu are attained by a single utterance of the name of Krishna. This is from the Brahmanda Purana and Laghu Bhagavatamrita. Also Chaitanya Charitamrita, mentioned in several places, quoted in several places. Even though the name of Krishna and the Krishna mantra are supremely powerful, offenses taken into consideration in the chanting of are taken into consideration in the chanting of Krishna's name. And this is important. Even the glow of the holy name, Namabas, can destroy all sins and give one liberation. Nevertheless, if one commits offenses, the benefits of Namabas are lost. So there's a distinction made between offenses and sins. They are not the same thing. Lord Krishna withholds his mercy from the offensive person. The difference between a sin, papa, and an offense, aparad, is the following. An improper act committed towards a conditioned embodied being is a sin, whereas a similar improper act committed towards Vishnu or the Vaishnava is an offense. An offense has graver consequences than a sin. Ajamil was a great sinner, but because he had committed no offenses, he was delivered by the power of Namabas. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu delivered everyone, both sinners and offenders. There are offenses to be considered while chanting Krishna's name. Therefore, simply by chanting his name, the offender does not become ecstatic. But these considerations do not exist where Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu are concerned. So as soon as one chants the name, he feels the ecstasy of love for God. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 8, text 24 and 31. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has glorified Nityananda Prabhu's quality of being merciful to the most fallen in the following words. Nityananda Prabhu is the avatar of mercy. He was so intoxicated by ecstatic love that he does not discriminate between the good and the bad. He delivers anyone who falls down before him. Therefore, he has delivered such a sinful and fallen person as me. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 5, 208-9. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur is particularly given extensive glorifications of Nityananda Prabhu. The sinful and offensive living beings of this world have no alternative but the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu if they want to be delivered. Even though Nityananda Prabhu is Bhagavat Tattva, he behaves as a devotee. All of his associates are expansions of his mercy. Nityananda Prabhu is said to be the deliverer of the most fallen. His companions seek out even more fallen souls to deliver. In fact, Nityananda Prabhu distributes his mercy to the conditioned souls through his devotees. We're just about at 8 o'clock. I'm going to continue a little bit here. I might run out of time. If you want, I can continue with this, or we can stop. But for now, I'll read a few more paragraphs. As one of Nityananda Prabhu's closest confidants, Udarana Datta Thakur is called Parama Patita Pavana. Parama Patita Pavana, the deliverer of the most fallen amongst the most fallen. The most fallen amongst the most fallen. That's me. Thus, any jiva who takes shelter of Udarana Datta Thakur is quickly delivered from his material entanglements and attains the service of Nityananda Prabhu and Gaura Prabhu's lotus feet. Therefore, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes him as the best of the Maha Bhagavatas. And Vrindavan Das Thakur writes in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Udarana Datta is a great and magnanimous Vaishnava who has a title to the service of Nityananda Prabhu. From a superficial point of view, Udarana Datta worked as the manager of a big zamindar of Naihati. The relics of his wealthy family are still visible not far from the Dainhat station. The village where Udarana Datta Thakur lived while acting as the manager of the estate was named Udaranapura. Although he possessed a vast fortune, Udarana Datta renounced all sense gratifications, dedicating all of his sense activities to the service of Nityananda Prabhu. Being controlled by the love of his devotee, Nityananda Prabhu enjoyed the foodstuff that Udarana had cooked. Bhaktera Dravya Prabhu Kari Kari Kai. Abhaktera Dravya Pane Ulati Nakai. The Lord will grab food from his devotee, but he will not even glance at anything offered by a non-devotee. At Udarana Datta's Shripad in Saptagram, which stands on the banks of the Saraswati River, one can still see the six-armed form of Mahaprabhu that he personally worshipped. On the right side of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a deity of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, and on the left side is the deity of Sri Gadadhar Pandit. On another altar are the deities of Radha Govinda and Ashalagram Shila, and below the throne is a picture of Sri Udarana Datta Thakur. After Udarana Datta disappeared, Jadava Devi made an auspicious visit to his home. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami writes in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that his brother did not have as much faith in Nityananda Prabhu as he had in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This was the cause of an argument between his brother Nityananda Prabhu's follower, Maniketana Ramdas. Srila Kaviraj Goswami took Ramdas's side in this argument and rebuked his brother. Nityananda Prabhu was pleased with Srila Kaviraj Goswami just because he supported his devotee. Nityananda Prabhu gave him a vision of himself. This is wonderfully described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. A beautiful description of Lord Nityananda. Um, So Nityananda Prabhu gave him a vision of himself, the right to live in Vrindavan and service to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. The conclusion is that if we worship Udarna Datta Thakur, serving him and trying to please him, we will quickly be able to get the mercy of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, through which we will become eligible to attain love for Krishna and thus perfect our lives. In order to attract people, allow them to benefit from Udarna Datta's Sripat, it is necessary to make repairs to the buildings on the site. Through this, people will become aware of his glories and will seek his mercy and become blessed. If one makes an effort to serve, the object of worship will give the commensurate power to serve. So an appeal is being made for help to restore that site. I'm going to forge ahead here. There's just 3 short paragraphs left. In front of the Saptagram temple, a large hall has been constructed, in front of which is a shady and cool terrace covered by a Madhavi creeper. Srinivas Datta Thakur, not to be confused with Srivas Acharya. Srinivas Datta Thakur was Udarna Datta's son. Their descendants have spread into many branches and today live in Kolkata, Hooghly, and many other places. Those who have taken birth in this family are doubtlessly very fortunate individuals. We pray that they abandon the superficial, illusory family connection and establish their transcendental relation with him and take care of developing the birth site of Sri Udarna Datta Thakur. Udarna Datta Thakur left this world in the Shaka year 1463, which is 1551 AD, on the Krishna Trayodashi of the month of Pausha. And that concludes the description of Udarna Datta Thakur. So, at this juncture, I will ask, are there any questions, comments, or contentions, or anything whatsoever? If anyone would like to add anything or whatever, now is the time. We are at 8:05. I will hang around a bit if anyone wants to continue the conversation. And otherwise, if there is nothing more, we can conclude. A message has come through the pipe. What have we got? Yashudev is offering his folded hands digitally. Thank you, Prabhu. Is there anything else? Crickets. Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.